I am back this week to talk all about my favorite high school curriculum picks. And despite those stories about the McDonald's play place visits that never happen, I do not renege on my promises. Surely you've had the same experience with your kids too, am I right? But yes, this week we are talking all about high school curriculum. And I'm Pam Barnhill. I have helped thousands of homeschoolers create doable systems, beat burnout, and bring more joy to their homeschool day. And today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorites with you. So here's the first thing I want you to know. Just because something is my favorite and has worked for my family doesn't mean that it's going to be an instant hit for your family as well. So take my advice with a grain of salt. We love our curriculum, but we also have specific kids who are trying to do specific things, and it just works well for us. You may actually hate some of my choices, and that doesn't hurt my feelings. So let's start with one of the very basics, and that is mathematics. After years of using Math UC for the elementary grades and loving it, my family switched to Mr. D Math for pre-algebra and up. Now, I did this because so many of my friends were recommending Mr. D to me, and I knew Dennis Denoya and really knew his heart for students and felt like this could possibly be a good fit for my family. And it absolutely has. The kids use Mr. D Math for pre-algebra. They use it for algebra. They love the straightforward videos. They like the quizzes that they take. I love that it keeps the grade for me. And one of the most amazing things about Mr. D is that there is live homework help 3 times a week. Now, we've only ever done the self-paced classes because sometimes it takes my kids just a little bit longer to get through a math class, and I don't want to rush them. My kids really do not prefer live classes, and so we take our time with the self-paced classes, but they can always tap into that live homework help a few different times a week if they need it and get their questions answered there. So check out Mr. D Math. I'll put a link for you in the description down below. Our next favorite resource for the basics is IEW. I really love IEW and think that all kids should get an opportunity to do IEW at least once before they finish high school. The reason is summarizing. IEW does a fabulous job of teaching you how to take multiple sources and summarize them into your own words. And so your kids never have to worry about, am I plagiarizing or not plagiarizing? Because they start with a source, summarize it into a keyword outline, and then write a paper from there. Now, it's also really fabulous because it teaches you lots of other things as well. And I call IEW writing for the left brain person. So this is the person who's not like, I want to be super creative and I want to write novels and flowery things, but instead the person who needs to learn how to write with great structure and with pretty good style. And IEW is perfect for that. So this is structure and style for students. And this is the course where Andrew will teach your kids for you using the videos. My boys have done that before, but right now I am the one who is teaching my student because he's figured out that I teach just a little bit faster than Andrew does. Now, I have no problem teaching my kids writing because I have used the teaching writing structure and style from IEW to show me how to do the method. And this is one of the things that I love about IEW is that they teach the parent to teach the student. And so you have all of the information that you need to be a confident and competent writing teacher for your kids. I taught IEW for years and years in our local homeschool co-op, and I have gotten some of the sweetest letters and some of the sweetest in-person words from my students. I did the public speaking class, and one of my students came back to tell me how much that public speaking class was helping him in his job as a missionary. I got the sweetest letter from one of my students telling me how much the IEW class I taught her has helped her with her college writing. And so I know this program works. Now, another fabulous choice from IEW is Fix It Grammar. And yes, this is Fix It Grammar Level 2 for my middle schooler. And the reason is IEW thinks that you should start Fix It Grammar at the beginning. I have no problem with that. And I don't start grammar until my students are in middle school. I do not see any reason to spend years and years slogging through in elementary school all the grammar worksheets and all the grammar things. To me, grammar is much more of a logical thing for the brain, which kind of happens really well about the same time learning pre-algebra does. And so when my kids are in middle school, we start with Fix It Grammar, and they've got lines in here for the kids to write on, and they're kind of the large primary lines, but you can just write it on a piece of paper. It doesn't matter. You don't have to write on the lines that are in the book if you don't want to. But this just goes through the basics of grammar, and it's so easy for my kids to use by themselves. And if they need some help, they just come over to where I'm at and I spend a few minutes helping them. But it's quick, it's easy, it's effective. They remember things, and it really, really works for us in just a few minutes a day, which I think is so important, that we don't beat grammar to death with worksheet after worksheet after worksheet. So what do you do if you have this really creative kid and they want to do more than just writing from models? So one of the things that you can try out is something called Layers of Learning Writers Workshop. Now this one is a little more intensive for mom, but I have used this with my teens before, and there were some aspects of it that they really, really loved. I struggled with being consistent with it, but there are some fabulous things about this curriculum, and it's so much fun to just kind of do together with your kids. And the wonderful thing is it's super inexpensive. So if you're looking at maybe having one fun writing day a week, you could use that Layers of Learning Writers Workshop to inject some more fun and exciting writing in with your regular curriculum. I'm almost done with writing, but not quite. Stick around to the end to hear the one curriculum that I think every kid should use before they leave your homeschool. So now that we've gotten some of the meat and potatoes out of the way, let's talk about a few more of the fun curriculum that you could use. And those are for your content subjects. Hey, don't know the difference between content and skill subjects? I've got a video for you. I'll link right up here. But the short version is content subjects are things like science and history. And one of the things that we have used for science and history is Guest Hollow. Guest Hollow is just a fabulous curriculum. So many wonderful book choices, super inexpensive and easy for mom to use. And the thing that my kids love about it the most are the selection of books in there. This is Wicked Plants from the botany that we did last year. And we read A Bomb by Steve Shankin, which was one of the living books that my kids really, really loved. And Guest Hollow even includes things like graphic novels. And my daughter found this one delightful as she was studying the Civil War. So many good choices with Guest Hollow. Now, it is what I call a buffet curriculum. And here is my caveat with this kind of buffet curriculum. You are really meant to pick and choose the books that you want to do. And you are not supposed to try to do every single book that is in the curriculum. Now, Guest Hollow does a fabulous job of prioritizing the books for you. Like this book is an A level book, this book is a B level book. So A level books are the ones you absolutely don't want to miss. B levels are the ones that you really try to work in. And then they even have a C level, which is only get to if you have time. Even with doing that, though, sometimes the number of choices with a buffet curriculum like Guest Hollow can be a little bit overwhelming. And so what I personally do is make my kids task cards where I break the curriculum up week by week and choose the things that we're going to do ahead of time in the summer. I've actually got a master class that'll show you how to do that, and I'll include a link for that as well. And it's really great because the kids then don't see the entire curriculum. They only see the things that I have chosen for them to do. And this is also kind of great because once I go through and make all of my choices, I don't second guess myself. I just simply look at what's on the card, and that becomes the curriculum for me. And I'm not constantly thinking, oh, should we have done that other book or not? Nope. If it's on the task card, that is what we are doing. And so I only have to make the decision once, and it makes using those kinds of buffet curriculums way less overwhelming for me. The other thing I want to say about Guest Hollow is it includes so many different kinds of books. Looking at their high school physics program, it included literature books like Ender's Game, and it also included historical books about different scientists. So honestly, you could add just a couple more literature books and a couple more history books. And instead of saying, this is what we're doing for science, and now we have to go do all of these other things, you could instead award credits in 2 or 3 different subjects just from what you read with Guest Hollow. One of the years we did Guess Hollow, we did a deep dive into chemistry in the kitchen and absolutely loved it. But that meant we didn't have as much time to work on our history. And so that year we did something that I like to call, sorry, my Alabama is showing, get her done history. And we did that with a series of books called History Detective. Now, you get these on Amazon. There's a page or 2 pages that you read about significant historical events. And then there is a series of multiple choice questions that you answer. So this is not the fanciest, most exciting history curriculum, but it did allow us to really focus in on science, which is what we wanted to do that year, and enjoy that as a family while the kids had a simple way to check off the history box with a different curriculum. And I've told friends about this, and they have agreed with me that it is just quite simply a way to get history done if you need to. So, what about you? Are there any subjects that you just want to get done and use a simple resource to do so in your homeschool? If so, tell me in the comments down below. And finally, I promise to tell you the one resource that I think all kids should use before they leave your homeschool. And it is this little book right here called The Lively Art of Writing by Lucille Van Payne. So Olivia did this her senior year. John is going to do it his senior year, and Thomas will do it at some point before he graduates. And this is just a fabulous little book all about writing essays. And this was a book that I used when I was in school, and it was not new then. This little book has been around for a very long time. Actually, a lot of the examples in here are about teens and drag racing, but it is so delightful. Olivia did not mind at all. And she said it taught her so much about writing. Last week, she had to write an essay for college, and she came into my office and said, Mom, where's that little book that I used that taught me how to write an essay? And she pulled it out and started flipping through it. But I think this book did more for teaching me writing. I did it when I was a senior in high school than any other book that I've ever used before on teaching writing. And so I think that this is absolutely a delight and not to be missed. There's so many fabulous skills that your student will pick up from this. Now, there was a mom a few years ago on the internet who created a workbook and a teacher's guide to go along with this little book. And if I can find it again, I'll link it for you in the description down below. I downloaded it and printed it out, and Olivia and I used it as she worked through. And I just can't say enough good things about this gem right here. So be sure to use that one. Lean in close. Here are some final, very important notes that I have to say about curriculum for your homeschool. The most important curriculum is the one that gets done. You know, it's funny. John and I were riding in the car the other day. He's my 16, almost 17-year-old. And he said to me, Mom, I think I'm going to let you pick my curriculum for next year. We've kind of gone back and forth some years where he's chosen and other years where I've chosen. And he said, you do such a good job choosing for me. And I really think the reason I do is because he kind of gets starry-eyed when he looks at curriculum and something looks kind of fun and interesting. But what I know about him at heart is that he really wants to get school done each day, and he doesn't want it to drag out and take all day long. And sometimes those more fun looking curriculums that he can get starry eyed over are the ones that actually after a while start to wear on him, and they just take forever when he just wants to be finished. And there are lots of fabulous curriculum out there that you can get that is going to suit the kind of child that wants to be done. On the other hand, if you have the kind of child who needs all the bells and whistles and wants all of the fun and interesting, exciting projects and experiments and all of those things, you can certainly feel free to get that. You know your child, you know you, and you know what is going to get finished in your homeschool. And that's the curriculum that you want to choose. So you might be wondering, well, now I have a few ideas of which curriculum to choose, but how in the world do I go about making a high school transcript? Well, never fear, I've got you covered with another video right here.